What you want, man? What do you want? Okay, I give you one. I give you one. Yeah, I'm gonna make some pasta and some watermelon juice. Just read on, man. Alright, let's read this. And we gotta go to the garbage. That's my fault. Alright. You ready? It's good and clean too, so. No, it's clean. Alright. Get it, Bubba. Get it, Bubba. Love that stuff, don't you? It's my door. We'll start leaving the shoes outside. I'm leaving the shoes outside. The other ones are shit. On the ground. Shoes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'll read that later, man. Oh, what's that other book I'm gonna get out? Ghost Dancing. There it is. This one. This is it. Oh, good job. That's a lie. Found the real picture of that. Okay. Prescription rock. I believe it's the actual Masada prescription rock. I believe it's the real Masada. break from eating, honestly. Holy shit. You had me knocked out. Pass the hell out. That's what happens when you go to bed around 7 or something like that and wake up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock. I thought I was tired. Yeah, it's 8 hours. Well, I didn't sleep straight through. Fell asleep down here. Went upstairs. I was up for about an hour and a half. Damn, that's some sleeping, bro. Holy shit. I'm trying to do about 30 years of catch-up sleep. I want to share something. Cure me if you come over and you see this, brother. I want you to look into this. I know I've heard other people talk about it. Now, I actually have been to I actually, when I went to Machu Picchu, I think it was like 1988, 88 and 90, right before Desert Storm. I've been there like, I think 3 times, but 2 times where I actually went up and I've been to the so-called Masada over there. Now, why do I have an issue with the Masada over there? I walked the grounds and everything. At that time we could. You can't do it now, I don't think. But Machu Picchu is enormous and bigger than that fake Masada. With descriptions on the walls and everything. I don't know if they changed it. But I would like for anybody of y'all to look into it. If any of y'all ever been to Machu Picchu or Masada over in, which that is not, you know, the great saying about the Romans and the whatever can't defeat us and they all commit suicide, Harry. Y'all remember one of the stories I was reading about the Anunnaki and custodians and how a certain group of humans who said we're not gonna, you know, and they themselves. It's funny how those stories kind of correlate to each other. Yet, if we believe in Atlantis and stop following Pale Skin's narrative, because those majority of them were given a fake history and taught lies, that they didn't have a choice after the 7th reset. So I'm not going to hold them out. I'll hold them out for ignoring those of us who were not Cabbage Patch. And somebody attempted that. Some Pale Skin attempted to say, well, y'all were first, you know, first ones after the reset that were brought in to labor and work. Dude, we know how to build everything. You know, if he comes over here and watch, I hope he says something. If we knew how to build everything, the infrastructure we taught all the Pale Skins and everybody, that's during the war and after the war. I can't sit here laterally and say who betrayed who or who was afraid for the life or who didn't like, you know what I'm saying, how the power structure was, who was envy and jealous. Because you got to remember, we fell first, okay? Whatever war that we had, that was a grand war that you can't even, y'all don't have, it was the war beyond all wars. Atlantis, when it fell, something came in and it was able to take over about felling power grid and us getting more and more into a cult. Okay, that's why these individuals utilize that occult to keep us down, because, and I know a lot of people don't know that. I know some people even asked me, what was that about? There was incense and stuff that we burnt so we wouldn't remember. Yes, and many of our people were slaughtered. They forgot how to fight. But many of our people were underground or hidden in the woods. But I would like for whoever, cure me if you come in, I know you have some good, you're down there. Well, you're not in Machu Picchu, but you're in Costa Rica. You can go ahead and look at that, because I believe Machu Picchu to actually be the original Masada. Because if you know anything, you would know that what was that guy's? What was that? What was the guy's name? First of all, you guys know that what was his name? Zarco's. Anyway, I'm gonna get into the Uniseco. Zarco Hernandez. Hernandez Salvador. Hernandez Salvador Zarco, I believe, is the actual name of Cristobal Colon. Cristobal Colon is a whole made-up name, people. Okay, Hernandez, Zarco, Hernandez Zarco, Salvador, whatever the fuck it may be. Okay, it's a Negro. We'll look up his pictures. He was the actual person. He had visited us, talked with us on numerous occasions. The world knew us over. I believe that was after the last reset, which was considered the starving time in so-called in Ethiopia, to which the Spanish first, the Dutch first called, the Portuguese first called the Negros de Guinea, meaning that black place. And over here, the first term before black and any of that crap that popped up between the 1790s and 1890s, 100 years, give or take, was Negros de Terra. And that means not just here, but of earth, meaning where it first routed from. There's a reason why it's called Atlanta, Georgia. Don't pay attention to all the other places in the world that got Atlanta behind it now, because they didn't exist. Just look it up. They didn't exist until around the 1800s. I'm dead serious. Look into it. We believe, most of us who have researched this stuff for decades, believe that most stuff actually took place in the 1800s, because the last reset was a grand war beyond the scope. Because the remnants of Russia, which they tried to say something happened, a meteor already landed, that was the remnants of something that struck and laid all that forest down that they alluded to being a nuclear weapon that was actually happened long before the nuclear devices were again utilized. So in order to unravel the lies that have been created, and I always say it's not the greatest thing to want to know history, but it's good to have, how do you say, it's like if you want to go up to a high spot, you need a footstool. It's good to have a little footstool of information based on the past, so that way we have a better focus in a direction. Now, you know what direction they're taking us. It's always going to be wars, and many people are enraged and angry. You would think that we'd be silently, we are more enraged than anything, that we're still killing each other like idiots, because you have too many Negroes on the inside who are pushing a very sick narrative, and they really don't believe. These are the ones that are bought into, with goofy ass what's the name, walking around with a t-shirt saying "Do as thou wilt, do as thou will, Alistair Crawley." Individuals who found out the hard way that there's something really amiss, meaning we're capable of a lot of things. And him dabbling in drugs and psychotics and homoerotic and everything else, blood, spirit cooking, children. Remember what he said about the son you never know of? They were dealing with the corruption, the perversion, just like us sacrificing all those Mongolians and Spaniards, in so-called South America. Still, the numbers were great. Many families had already been kind of changed, but I want you to look into that. And why did I say UNESCO? Only reason why I say UNESCO, because I'm actually looking at it. It says United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. How in the hell can they name Machu Picchu as a World Heritage Site? And they did that in 1983, mind you, a year before I went in the military. See, they don't have the right to name anything. World Heritage Site, wouldn't that be all of Earth? That's what I mean by, first of all, the UN shouldn't even stand as it is, because you see what part they're playing. Infiltration always starts at what they believe they have everybody to believe everybody conceives to be a higher place, rulers of some sort. And that's the problem with most people. That's like when the news started saying the leader of the new world, based on the 20-year war in Vietnam, the leaders of they're not our leaders. The president is not our fucking leader. No rich, weird, goofy bastard is anybody's leader. He has a job to do, which he's going against. So therefore, he didn't take an oath. He's a liar. Why is he still there? Because nobody wants to say anything and change it, like any of the other fictional half-bred of the same lineage of inbred cousins in all these positions around the world. You look at Trudeau. I'll be damned if that ain't Cuba's ex-president, the one that died, son. It's well known his mama used to be down there all the time, flicking and flacking. You know what I'm saying? So, and he kind of looked like him. I'm just saying. I mean, hell, it is what it is, right? So I would like for y'all to look into that. I mean, Fidel Castro, come on, people. He betrayed Chavez. He betrayed many of his brothers who helped him fight that so-called revolution to become part of a Marxist ideology. Think about it. Hitler, it is well documented that when I was in Germany, there were books, and it's funny how they got to exist with the Ashkenazis and rule over there, that alluded to the fact that the bones discovered that were cremated and pulverized, tested, didn't belong to Adolf Hitler, which is not his real name, but anyway, did not belong to Adolf Hitler. And that when I was in South America, asking like everybody else said to do, they were saying, oh, of course Hitler was here. That means America, bringing the scientists and many of the soldiers here, made sure he got there safe, unless he went to Antarctica. I don't know, but everybody says he was down there and he's got a gravesite and everything. So I mean, that I'm gonna go ahead and get to read. I mean, I look at all this stuff and I say, why would do this? They always talking about 7 wonders of the world when there are thousands. But why would they be wonders? Wonders for who? What is a wonderment? What does wonderment mean? Okay, I'm just throwing that out there, okay? Y'all look into it and tell me what you find. Okay? I'm not going to throw everything on the table. I've found a lot of more stuff. I wanted to throw that out as a little, itchy. What was that? Okay, so itchy kaye, you know what I'm saying? Look, something to look at. So if you find anything, UNESCO broke down that acronym, Machu Picchu, so-called Masada over there, Yak, and West Side. When I shared it to him, he did it. I don't know about the rest of you. I said there were around 6 or 7 places that when the Belfort Agreement was before it was being made, that they were looking at to call Israel to name their home. You got to remember, in the Bible, Jesus went everywhere at the same time, and they landed on Palestine. The Sephardic half brothers, because if you know anything about Palestine before it became what it is today, it was a dark continent. I mean, darker than a dark Negro. Okay, and if you remember me reading Arthur Kessler's about certain wars in that place, when you want to mention or whatever, it's funny how they got people to fight each other. They did some investing in banking, which is their thing, establishing it. All right, and all of a sudden, everybody started looking like this new age Arab, when old pictures of Arabs. Now we have guys who get into the Moorish doctrine and all that crap, half American, indigenous, and more, who say that Arabs were the Berbers or light skin or pale skins, which is far from the truth. If you've been over in Europe and all them places, in Hispaniola, Spain, and all that, and you got to see some of the actual books and the drawings of what the Arabs look like of origin, going back about 500 years, they were like Muhammad, black than a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? We want to get into the crayon. So no. Now, even the Berbers, remember I showed y'all a month ago, I showed you pictures of Berbers and what they all look like? Like Ethiopians and Maasai, tall, you know what I'm saying? Very lean, no facial hair. I'm just saying, y'all. I mean, you know, don't shoot the message. I mean, the message might be the wrong message, but I would love to see some people look further into those things because it's a footstool. You know, that's why they see this right here is why they keep increasing everything. Now you got some dumb bastard Negro half-bred mother from England, Britain, sitting there with this Ashkenazi talking about what they did. They're monsters. But haven't they been saying that for the last 30 years about the Palestinians while they've been murdering and killing them? And so they started blowing themselves up on the boats and not really, you know, because the Ashkenazis were killing the people left and right. How do you take this big land of Palestine, okay, and then put everybody of Palestine in this little area and in the Gaza, right over here, this little strip with 2.5 million people and about, you know, 3 or 4 million right here. And they have the rest to be 5.6 or 8 million Jews, and they're all different looking. Oh man, y'all never been over there? I told you I've been there a few times. Listen to me. I'm sitting there going, who the fuck is who? You got Jewish lesbians with their Palestinian girlfriends who are now honorary Jews, but they can because there's Ashkenazi blood in them, and blah blah blah. I mean, shit is. That brings us back to World War One. Who got all 3 cousins of the new age of so-called rulers to fight a war after the reset and the start embarkment on cleaning up and bringing all them childrens that they brought over were the first ones to fight that goddamn war to eradicate more history of survivors. Are you aware of that? When you want to talk about the Vanderbilts, Rothschilds, and all them fictional fractured motherfuckers. I'm just saying, y'all. And then look at the motherfuckers who played a role over in this country. It's the same bastards. I really want to read Heaven's Bearers again. At least the first several chapters. It can illuminate so much more. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to hidden lands beyond Antarctica. We're going to get to the gods of Eden. And Anunnaki, and blah, 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 blah. I was reading the Negro Project and White Cargo, and I was out like a light. This one climbed up between my legs. I couldn't move it. I was going to get cramped. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh, I'm supposed to read. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Hidden lands beyond. Turn it off. It's too much light. There we go. Hidden lands beyond the Antarctica. The continuation of Morris, Helen Morris, and all, you know, Wayne Morris as well, Butler and all that. Journey between interconnected planets. So I love the fact, remember I said that they say planets, because it has nothing to do with something out there. Okay? Nos compadre, Claudio Nocelli. Like I said, he has a YouTube channel, a lot of it in Spanish. So if you can speak Spanish, you want to learn, go over there. Just listen, walk around, let it play. You know, look for keywords. Okay? We're in chapter 13, the second ice wall. It is 73 degrees and I feel warm. Okay, here we go. Let's get into it. Chapter 13, the second ice walls. I'm chilling, y'all. But PJ, blue, I even got my winter socks on. They ain't really winter, but it feels good. Anyway, another of my concerns when I found out about these second walls and understood a little of the functioning of the first ones was the following. Why then are there ice walls imposed by the colonizers also here in this circle environment? This question. Well, the answer I have received was that these lands, when they were penetrated and taken in a violent and colonizing act by the custodians, specifically After having failed in their visit to the neighboring lands of Venus, they took forward the creation of artificial walls so that information could not be easily passed from the core out. As they considered it of absolute weakness, it was sensitive information that the Venusians could use later. Now, the complex situation, after taking these lands and finding first humans developing, took place with several decisions along the history, and one of them would not be so long to wait with the creation of these walls that keep away in many ways any curious navigator that could try to cross the huge cold distances of the second ice walls. Anyway, it makes sense because there's plenty of, I don't know why they didn't show them plenty of maps showing the Antarctic walls, the lands, pyramids and buildings. We're not talking about new drawings. We're talking about stuff made around like before the damn flood, things that survived, books that are burnt. You wonder how they get burnt. You know what I'm saying? And it shows you animals and all kinds of stuff, even weird looking animals. Anyway, this did not prevent that with the technology of the giants. One could cross the lands of Argos or Atos, or simply to the gates of the Mars lands next to the Bird Strait, Admiral Bird Strait people, who was recorded in previous books I have published. Since Bird himself was the one who would cross, requested at the time by the custodians themselves, and with the technology helped by the custodian leader Nimrod, who was later killed in a battle of the ancestors near Lemuria. So I don't think these walls were of much use to the coming generations. That's the second generation onwards, okay? Since once they took control, humans could hardly have escaped from the first dome, crossing the second dome. According to navigators and Richard Byrd, Admiral Richard Byrd himself, left a record of it. That's why I have that book right here. See this right here? Okay. Excuse me. Himself left the record of it. You feel a thrust, and it seems to sail through the sky when you are penetrating the ice walls and dome to the lands of Mars. The feeling could be described as being fired at an incredible speed and entering a deep abyss without having control for a few moments on the ship that is moving in. Remember they talked about the thing like a succubus that takes them, and all of a sudden what they thought they traveled through the ice walls, all of a sudden, bam, they're in this place. That quick. You know what I'm saying? You see a lizard friend on the window there, buddy? Chapter 14, the stars and planets in the heavens, the absolute zero, line crossing the Antarctic. This is another sensitive and not all minor issue about how our environment works. The same conditioning can be activated as one tries to interpret the functioning and projection of the domes, the planets, the stars, and the many worlds that seem to be far away from us up there. As Byrd and many other navigators who have been able to cross this passage leading into the interior of the lands of Mars, or misnamed Red Planet, have commented, the thrust is similar, and it is important to remember this phrase once again as we navigate our traverse the very heavens. This could give us a closer explanation to what we understand as space or universe. That in the science books of the known lands or Earth lead the new humanity to learn about reaching distant planets, wormholes as such. I believe that's the key word that would be beneficial here. And stars as something extremely far away or even improbable by technology and studies. When in reality, we can connect those planets or lands directly crossing these domes in a horizontal way as directly crossing Antarctica or the Antarctic Circle. Now, nowadays, this is not possible for human civilians for several reasons. Some of them we have already mentioned, as the security guardianship with bases along the same circle radars around the so-called South Pole, as well as the great distances of frozen oceans, huge walls, and an extensive region of low temperatures without possessing adequate technology and the location of the passages already previously open to find adequately and without errors the passage or portal to transfer matter from the interior to the exterior or vice versa. I was watching a video one day. What was it on? What was it on YouTube? It was these guys who were supposed to be fishermen in this big, luxurious, like, yacht that can damn near submerge. And when they were by the ice walls, well, not that close, they could see them. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, different types of Coast Guard ships, U.S., Russian. It's funny how we want to bring war up here, but down there, they work to keep everybody away from the Arctic wall. And they were firing shots, and even from the ice wall itself, there were sounds going off. And the guys were like, man, this is, and they were saying on the ship, this is crazy. They were out there. It wasn't, they were wrapped up, but it wasn't as cold as what you think. And because they were in the ocean, like, by the wall, no lands. And you could hear the people on the Norwegian Coast Guard as well, because they were speaking to them, telling them, turn around now. And this earth belonged to all of us. What is so important about an ice, a land? It's not like they're going to fly in and rescue them, right? Okay? Even with the right technology, sometimes, as we will see later, mistakes are made. What the fuck? Why did my voice thing come on? These people are tripping, excuse me. Are made that can end tragically. Since the custodian technology advances and is updated frequently, for this reason, only some beings are able to cross the domes, portals, and even those ice walls that the custodians have left, so that this impediment is increased to a maximum level. But if all this were not already complex by itself, we also add what we know as a strip or line of absolute zero. Would that be a different kind of marginal line? I don't know. That is just before the first dome. I guess you could say it is. Where events are experienced that we could consider strange or out of the ordinary. Many space agencies and militaries of the new humanity study these areas periodically for many years. Even many militaries have come to these areas to experience these phenomena, as Byrd has also done so after his Antarctic expedition of 1934. In his experiment to spend months studying this famous line of absolute zero. Now, this strange line, in addition to experiencing physical changes, some people have visions of Polaris auroras that plunge them to the most absolute depth, losing track of time and their surroundings. Visits from different times, coded messages that have reached them, and images of deceased people that can appear before one, and a myriad of phenomena studied in depth previously by the Anakim, ancestral and now a part of the new humanity, with custodian complicity, which make of all this phenomena a place as recondite as strange. And as it could not be missing, the custodians used this site to locate several humans and other beings to proceed to the study of war conflicts and psychological experimentation in these lands of the absolute zero. And in parentheses, then you will find testimonies on this subject in latter chapters, hopefully. It is very possible that this study is also related to the attempt to understand the connection of the source that humans in the celestial lands, terra incognita, mind you, have, since the interest to those lands have always been the obsession of these beings, both custodians and Anunnaki, since they first encountered them a long time ago. Some weird shit. Chapter 15 to be the connection of the frozen waters and the celestial lands we call the universe. Now, this is supposed to be the Antarctica ice wall, right? And it has the Antarctica secret map. Okay, let me hold this up so you can get a picture, because this is not on my map that I have. Remember, they was talking about Admiral Byrd said we flew over a certain place with pyramids, and all of a sudden he came across all this green grass and birds and shit flying and penguins and that's the first dome. So you can see there the first dome, okay? And then the absolute zero is that between the first dome. And now the second dome is going to be beyond the other lands, and it's like that holds that marginal line. You dig what I'm saying? And it kind of like, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. As weird as that sounds. Because I want to get the human atmosphere. I want to read that in a little bit. Yeah, the discovery. The story of the second bird Antarctic expedition. It's pretty interesting. The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. They just pulled up. Anyway, this is The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. Excellent read, Snoo. I've already read damn near more than half of it, but let's go ahead and get here. Based upon what we are coming to know about the nature of the spiritual being, we find that two false twists appear to lay in the Brotherhood's definition of a supreme being. Firstly, Brotherhood monotheisms, which include Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, teach that a supreme being was the creator of the physical universe and of the physical life forms within the universe. In an upcoming chapter, we will discuss the likelihood that spiritual beings were born of a supreme being of some sort. But physical creatures and objects probably were not. As some other religions have noted, if our universe is the product of spiritual activity, then it appears that all individual spiritual beings within the universe are responsible for its creation and or perpetuation. Now, the scope of a supreme being would actually extend far beyond the creation of a single universe. Secondly, a supreme being is usually portrayed as a spiritual being capable of possibly unlimited thought, creativity, and ability. A supreme being is said to be an entity which can make and unmake universes. And the big question is this: why must we be limited to only one such being? Is there any reason not to suppose the existence of 10 such beings, or 100, or an almost infinite number? That's a good question. It appears that the Brotherhood definition of one God actually describes the native potential of every spiritual being, including those spiritual beings who animate human bodies on Earth. Remember the movies, Animator, Reanimator, blah, blah, blah. The true nature and capabilities of every spiritual being would therefore be hidden by doctrines which state that only a supreme being may enjoy pure spiritual existence and unlimited spiritual potential. Do you believe that? Or do you believe that we exist to actually perform that and have utter enlightenment and the beauty of it? The encroachment is this warlike beasts who are ravaging our planet, our Earth, our plane of existence. Us being the ETs. Brotherhood monotheism would actually hinder human spiritual recovery and prevent people from grasping the true and probably much broader scope of a supreme being. You look at the fucktards, getting some payback, running in and massacring all the civilians, American, don't matter who it is. They're pissed, but they're not enlightened. You ever thought about that? And then the bastards who created it and subjugate themselves. I'm a convert. I'm going over to Israel. And then nothing of the truth, while they leave the land of the true hope of humanity. Ain't that about a bitch? Brotherhood monotheism was another piece of the biblical revolving sword to prevent access to spiritual knowledge. It also allowed the custodians to greatly elevate their own status. As Netanyahu type fucks. Anyway, as part of its monotheism, the Brotherhood began to teach the fiction that members of the custodial race were the physical manifestations of a supreme being. Don't they want to say that these monkeys, that they're Mesopotamian, well, you know, and they act like they're gods? They actually believe that. Y'all never read none of the documents from that? Man, they really believe this shit. Okay? In other words, custodians started pretending that they and their aircraft were the one only God. History records that they used extraordinary violence to make Homo sapiens believe that the falsehood. Few lies have had a devastating few lies have had as devastating an impact on human society, yet it becomes a prime mission of the corrupted brotherhood from the time of Akhenaten to the modern day to make humans believe that the custodians and their aircraft were God. And the purpose of this fiction was to enforce human obedience and to maintain custodial control over the human population. In no case is this clearer, or the results more visibly tragic than in the biblical story of the ancient Hebrews and their one God named Jehovah. Now we know there's no such thing as ancient Hebrews, because that is a fucking language. To get away from the Aramaic and all that crap, those are dialects, right? The Ishmaelites. We know that they changed the words and everything, which Ishmaelites, if you remove the I, add an A, Ishmaelites. If you want to get into that Tartary connotation of who existed. Just like when the Bible all of a sudden appeared, it's funny how the word reset wasn't utilized, but the change or the phenomenon of destruction, fiery wheels rotating, coming down, them being duped to believe that some will be taken up. Maybe some are taken up and brought back after the reset to do the shit that they do, to go into the grounds. The facilities are still there to bring all those things up and to get them to move, get them to growing fast, and to put them in the field knowing they're going to die early. But their children would be the ones that would go on to fight World War One. Because you got to remember, in Russia, all them millions, 20 million people killed in Russia, who do you think they were? How about in Italy? 75 million? 7.5 million killed? Where do you think those bones come from up under that so-called fake-ass Vatican? Next chapter we'll be getting into Jehovah. I think y'all might enjoy that part. Reptilians in the History of Humankind, Anunnaki by Mr. Henry Crane himself. Okay. Anybody want to purchase that book? Okay. I'm not showing the monkey's face. It's not going to happen. Okay, here we go. This is good stuff right here. I believe it's going to be good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. We're talking about the preferred to listen to this. Enlil changed those words by Father as many times as Jesus referred to the true God. Anyway, the pact of the reptilian beings. The Fifth Reptilian War was at its peak. This made the Draconians send a small contingent to the fourth dimension to take the Usmagal, Anunnaki, as prisoners and decide not to kill them because they controlled the phase. The more efficient, because they controlled the phase, the more efficient way to communicate with the Lulus. You know what I'm talking about? Without words. That means a higher frequency of vibration, right? This was great news for Enki, because as a prisoner of war, he would be separated from the constant control of the Anunnaki guards that Anu had put on him. And despite the fact that the Usmagal, Anunnaki, had to strictly follow the instructions of the Draconians, he could take advantage of a neglect of them to try to fix things on Earth. It's funny because in this book, we literally, for those who remember me reading this book, I know y'all enjoyed this read, so I'm definitely going to read it. When she was fighting the bastard who, even though he came back, no spoilers, killed her husband, right? He was like a lizard, more in the lieu of a draconian. And they couldn't stand those who were like the Anunnaki. And they could kill him. Pretty weird. Isn't it? It's pretty weird. Heaven bearers. Okay? Anyway, he could take advantage of a neglect of them to try to fix things on Earth. Enlil was really worried about their destiny and the other Anunnaki since he did not know how the Draconians would react if they lost the war against the Usmgal, Kingu, and Sutum, like Sultan, alliance. They could most likely be executed. However, they were not in danger since the Draconians were very interested in getting the subtle energies of the human form. And the Anunnaki had acquired the ability to communicate with humans to manipulate them so as to maximize the recollection of subtle energies. On Earth, it was 476 AD. Didn't the Jews start fucking shit up around 5th and then really go ham in the 6th? Remember I told you I saw buildings gilded for 526? I'm serious, y'all. I or J 526. Think about it. Made with red brick, red clay. Oh man, they're still all over the place. This is a lot of people, Army Corps of Engineers, the traders, not all of them, but certain ones went and put ones in front of all those things. So now you think it's 14? It makes absolutely no sense, doesn't it? Because they want you to believe that everything out here was square buildings, teepees, and yurts, which are not even indigenous to this land, when we had wigwams and longhouses that Mongolia's trying to tell me about. I'm like, you motherfuckers don't know the first thing about that, because that goes from all through the islands and the Canaries, Hawaii. Like, come on, man, that's our stuff, man. Anyway, to maximize the recollection of subtle energies, on Earth it was 476 AD when the Roman Empire fell into the hands of Odoacer, a warlord, a barbarian who overthrew the young Emperor Romulus. I told you, Romulus. The Romulus. Star Trek. Listen, y'all, a lot of history about Rome and all that crap is purely fabricated, made up nonsense. Just trust me on this. A warlord, a barbarian, who overthrew the young Emperor Romulus, Augustus, and took over the government in Italy. This was a harsh blow for the Anunnaki, since the major recollection of negative energies came from the wars and rituals Romans did. This meant a considerable decrease in the energies emanated by humankind, since there were now left the isolated barbarian wars and the energy sent to the god Yahweh by people who believed in him. However, a great part of humankind believed in Jesus, and that took away a lot of negative energy to the Anunnaki. So what you think? All these people playing to this motherfucking fake-ass gods and all this stuff, by the narrative being painted here, which you lose from other things, right? Even Flatlanders, when you get into the chakras and all that kind of stuff. I keep telling you, abracadabra, speaking into reality, right? If your energy is focused on a lie, you take that lie and you give it some kind of, you give it energy. So anyway, so Enlil began to devise a plan to correct this. He had to connect more with Jesus, with Yahweh, and not leave it as his son. In the shortage of negative energies, the Draconians ordered their Anunnaki prisoners to indoctrinate humans to worship many gods, as they did in past times, because their perception of it was that the more gods the humans worshiped, the more subtle energies would emanate from them. This did not benefit Enlil, since he was the most benefited by usurping the name of Yahweh as God. So he told the Draconians that was impossible, because it would take a long time to indoctrinate all humans to believe in many gods again. The Draconians told him that time was not a problem for them, since compared to the time of the humans, they were eternal. So if they did not want to suffer the consequences, they had to comply with the orders and get to work. And now upon that threat, of the Draconians, Inky proposed an idea. There were large settlements of humans that had not been indoctrinated throughout the American continent. They could manipulate them as they had done it in Egypt and Samaria. Now we know that's a hashtag. Period of time. And that's already been proven, all right? The Draconians accepted the idea and told him that they wanted to possess those Lulus, and they also wanted blood sacrifices in his honor. Therefore, the Anunnaki turned towards Mesoamerican civilizations that had already achieved great advances without the help of the extraterrestrial gods. So that's what cracks me up when they talk about, yeah, they worship the god, but no, we did not. Now, a hostile takeover, something came. You can see they're all down there. And they were ignorant to it. Although Enki took that decision to save his Anunnaki fellows, he knew that these humans in America came from Atlantis, and they were more intelligent and less manipulable than their Egyptian or Sumerian predecessors. So he told the Draconians that in order to get that, they needed technology and knowledge. Otherwise, it could not be possible. Now, the Draconians told him that it did not matter what he did. They wanted results. Want me to read that again? Although Enki took that decision to save his Anunnaki fellows, he knew that these humans in America came from Atlantis. Not no goddamn Pelskins. You want me to go ahead in 1941 and 43? You want me to open up about a couple of other books I got laying around here saying when the Pelskins arrived in the so-called fucking Americas? All you fake natives come watching, standing over there on the East Coast and all these fake little tribes. I'm going to break your history down. The parts they didn't teach you in your school, but the books were readily available because the curriculum by the established, they act like custodians, don't they? And then when did we start going to school? Was it the 60s? Just wanted to put that out there. You do the research and you find something, you let me know what you find. I hope that was informative enough. Now the motherfuckers are watching us and they're speeding shit up. Now we got little monkeys behind the line. They don't care about them. They don't care about the monkeys. If those monkeys behind these lines running around because they're from third world country and did some goo-goo shit, if they was really about it, they wake up and be like, nigga, we here, we gonna work with these brothers. But they're too damn stupid. Maybe someone will come over here and watch this, and maybe someone will go, it's not us. We're gonna work with you guys. Who knows? We'll see. Oh, that feels so good. I'm thinking about Mom, getting that from you. Here it's coming in some more, guys. I got to shave. It feels so good to scratch it. There you go. DNA of the Gods, the Anunnaki Creation of Eve and the Alien Battle for Humanity by Chris H. Hardy. For anybody who wants to purchase the book. There we go. Put that over there. Oops, Daisy. I am so relaxed and comfortable, y'all. I'm just like, I ain't even smoking a weed for pain. I was stretched out like I ain't feel nothing. I was like, wake up, I was like, oh, throw some water on my face. Let's get this going. All right, anyway, let's pick up from the synthesis of, this suit of events and actions from the part of Nagal tells us volumes about his psychological profile. Okay, Nagal. And indirectly about the Anunnaki psychology. Let's summarize what we learned. Now, we've already went through about 4 or 5. Let's go ahead and carry it on because there's a bunch of them. Last one we left off was Nergal is so careless and self-centered that he doesn't recognize complex technology and machinery when he sees it, nor its power. Now, reason why I find it, because I could have skipped over, I find it important to read this. Remember, it's talking about the fact that they have fucked up emotions and feelings when most people would believe that they don't. They want to fight, they want to war, they want to rage. You know what I'm saying? And out of control, and they all want to be looked upon as if they're the greatest things to ever exist. Now, bullet point, I would think, oh, this is bullet point actually 4, excuse me. He may have thought, and in parentheses, the waterworks being operated through a techno-magical formula, the MEs, okay? I'm going to add that, it's not there, and that if he stole that ME, the luminous stone, remember Noah, when he was making the fire to heat things up, he would get the power for himself. Bullet point 5. He is so rash and brainless that he is unable to study the waterworks, something that would have led him to deduce that it is a complex machine from the sound and lights. And last but not least, he can't figure how to remove a part in such a way as to be able to put it back in place, if ever removing it was a mistake. Now in parentheses it says, but would he ever think that he made a mistake? God forbid. And now bullet point 6. Now you got to remember, we're going on here about Nagal, and because of how emotional and unstable when we read this stuff, if they're real, how emotionally unstable they are, and sociopaths, right? When the control room goes dead, he is prevented by his hatred from calling his brother, who is in the process of traveling. And one thing we know for sure is that the Anunnaki had instant communication technology, especially in their planes, which they call birds, whirlwinds, or boats of heaven. Bullet point 7. Furthermore, when it becomes clear that it's not just a magical formula but a machine, Nagal is unable to anticipate that the whole water infrastructure of Samar is going to collapse. Don't that make y'all think of the so-called, what's that machine that they keep talking about, Greece? What's the name of that machine? Anyway, let's read bullet point. Let's go over here and read bullet point 9 and 10, and then I'll look it up. I can't pronounce it right off the back right now. At no point is he, what was that? Hey, Herbo Snoo, what's up, baby? I've been sending you messages, girl. Hey, I'm baby. Slaughter, how you doing? What's going on, beloveds? What's happening? At no point is he able to take into consideration the people who won't have water anymore and will suffer. Not only Marduk's followers that would suit him all right now, okay, but even Sumer and other gods, because his hatred and jealousy fills him to the brim. Lastly, bullet point 10, we cannot rule out that all that Nagal wanted from the beginning was to destroy and erase anything that his brother had done, especially the most precious, the holies of holies, and the secret control room. In this perspective, his promise was just a trick to get Marduk to leave. Hence, Satan. What say you? And how many did he have with him that was on his side? Well, the Draconians and all of them were protecting certain things by keeping them away. And I don't know. I'm just suggesting. I don't know. You're paying attention, right? What do you see, right? Hold on. We're gonna finish off with the wars of the Anunnaki, the nuclear, all that stuff. Hold on. I gotta pull this up. The Antikythera. I forget how to pronounce that. I used to say it all the time. Antikythera. The Antikythera. You know, that machine. And this is why I was telling the people that when you read what they say, right? It was found in Greece, shipwreck, right? I'm here to tell you right now, today, they did a recreation of what they think it is. I'm going to elevate your mind and let you know that This here is bullshit. Okay? You can take anything. I can make something, give you something I've created out of hard paper and balsa wood and all that with springs and coils, and break it down and let you put together. And you can say, oh man, I know what this is. Look what I made. And it'd be the farthest thing from what actually it was. Okay? Anyway, antiquithin. Fuck, I can't pronounce this goddamn. And I hate the way it's something silent. Antikythera machine. This is what it looked like when they found it. And you know that this is thousands of years old. Let's just say that it's 200, 300 years old. Found in 1903, right? Let's just say it's 200, 300 years old. Think about it, people. What is the history they made you believe? First, they got dumb niggas believing that they put everybody on a ship, line them all up like sardines, pooping and peeing and throwing up, with just enough food for the for a 3-month, 5-month voyage. Think about it. They didn't even have at sea replenishment like we had for 5,000 people. Less least a ship that only had 500 to 800, depending on whether it was a destroyer or whatever, right? Think about it. It shows you how much they have lied and how people's minds have accepted it. Because what they painted in Hollywood, World War II movies, and everything else. Wars of the Anunnaki, nuclear self-destruction, and ancient Sumer. Chris H. Hardy, PhD. So that alludes to Sumer being and all those places over there. Like I said, the sand that is all that where the above the Congo, all that sand is not even indigenous to the land there, y'all. How did it get there? To create such a vast desert. What oases and water places still existing? I'm only asking because I think somebody might want to know. Some of you might have the answer. Right? People thought I was crazy. What do you mean that sand ain't it? Go and look at the reports. You think they didn't test the sand based upon its crystal and all, it's what it's composed of? Come on. Anyway, again, Wars of the Anunnaki, Nuclear Self-Destruction, and Ancient Sumer by Chris H. Hardy. Let me show you that again if you want to purchase it. The female, okay? Chris H. Hardy is a female. All right? Let's get into it. I want to get up to tomorrow. We can get to the next part, which is the elements of religious, ritualistic, and magical lore, and all the actions that come from it. This is a bunch of anyway. In the rare and condensed descriptions of what had happened, remember we were talking about Eanna and all that other stuff, right? Nibiru. Okay, let's carry on. In the rare and condensed descriptions of what had happened before the Anunnaki came to Earth, we don't see any mention of an organized religion, nor a specific rituals of worship. As the colonies arrived on a shuttling spacecraft carrying to Earth a group of 50, headed by a royal Enki, Nemna, Enlil, and Marduk, each time Nibiru is at its nearest to Earth. Every 3,600 years, they don't come accompanied by their priests the way European colonizers did in order to take over our lands, moving in with both soldiers and priests to evangelize. That's a lie. Priests came later. That's when the children were lied to make sure that the new Cabbage Patch and the orphans received a new, because you got to remember the priests of old were scribes, they were creating scrolls and writing new history. Are y'all aware of that? I learned that in Edinburgh, Scotland. And they would come to make sure that these kids had different religions or ideologies. Same priests teaching monotheism, this, that, Catholicism, Christianity. Oh yeah, real shit, y'all. And again, 1800s. Well, 1700s. Because remember, after King James was killed, the first so-called Ashkenazis, the first pilgrims, bullshit story, that came here, I think it was anywhere between 7 to 17 years after they finally murdered King James in Edinburgh, Scotland, Dead and bloated. Remember that song? Dead and bloated. That's the song about that nigga. They came back and it was in Algonquin. The Muskokie speaking like languages of different types, whatever. Okay? You think I'm lying? Look into it. Anyway. By their priests, the way of European colonizers did in order to take over lands, moving in with both soldiers and priests to evangelize the local populations. But even at latter stages, the earthling population was not taught to pray to a higher god above the Anunnaki. It seems to have gone the other way around, that they took on the role of gods, vice versa, or as us, more so as time went by, as we have shown. Of course, the rituals by which they wanted to be honored, and the very, because that right there, what they put up there made absolutely no fucking sense. Anyway, honored, and the very sacred architecture of the temples they built for doing so, in parentheses, with their sacred geometry, their cosmic orientation, and their various holies of holies, and so on, and gives us a good idea of their world vision and sciences. We know their society was highly hierarchical and nearly too fixated to be healthy when they arrived on Earth. Then it seems that the rules are modified and the descendants can access positions of power. Even the ultimate Enlilship, while King Anu and even Enlil himself are still alive, something that would not have been possible on Nibiru. So let's see what we have gleaned in the various ancient texts, sorting out only what pertains to the spirituality of the Anunnaki themselves. Spirituality? So compared to what we've been made to believe about these so-called Anunnaki, that they were emotionalists, they didn't care, they were sadists and blah, blah, well, they can be all that and still be unhinged. And you see the results of that today. So, let's see what we have gleaned in the various ancient texts, sorting out the only what pertains to the spirituality of the Anunnaki themselves, and not to the cults they impose on their populations, and what seems to express a religious, ritualistic, or magical process belonging to the Nibirian civilization itself. And we'll get into the elements of religion, ritualistics, and all the other crap, magical, the dogma and the lores of that, which I think will further express that. We'll definitely get into that tomorrow, because it's a pretty interesting read. I see some things, y'all know how I am, you know. I just know vice versa, whatever, all that don't mean shit when it comes to us and them or in the narrative of the story. Okay. This book is good. Alien World Order, the reptilian plan to divide and conquer the human race. Aren't we dealing with that little devastation of that chaotic devastation right now? This is by Len Caston. And this is the UFO guy. Actually, I think Will Cooper might have mentioned him. Working for the government. Disinformation. When we last left off, we were looking at the reptilian types courtesy of John Rhodes at reptoids.com, reptoids.com. Check it out. All right. Again, reptoids, reptoids.com. I would advise y'all to look at that. See what he has to say. When we talk about Matu and all that stuff, the Draco, you got the tailless ones and you got the ones that grow with tails. Ooh, women, y'all are naughty. Y'all been sleeping with some funky things, making these little hairy and hair. Oh, wait, the scale. I was looking at pictures of babies with scales on them. Like, what the fuck? Missing the teeth right here, but got these goddamn things. And I'm like, what the real babies? I'm serious. And the tail's as long as fucking my arm. I'm serious, y'all. Men, if you ever laying down a woman, you look at the back and she got look like a little mark, like it was sewed off, and get up off of it. You know how some of y'all like to hit it from the back? If it looked like you could swipe a card, fuck off. Somebody was telling me, who was y'all hit me up messenger? Don't be showing me no don't be showing me that. What's that? Miss November, the Miss no some porn stars. This I was gonna say niggerish, but this melanated porn star bitch, whatever the fuck. Because when I was talking about all this stuff, they said that stop watching that shit. But anyway, said that it looked like she may have had a tell. She may have. I didn't want to look at. I don't give a fuck. Just know they exist. Don't send me no more shit like that. Some of y'all, and take the women off your damn, off your witch card. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, put yourself up there. Put something that's meaningful. Always some big butt Brazilian bitch or BBLs. Was goofy. Stop smoking crack. Now, let's get into this. There were many wars between the various reptilian warriors species in the green world, but the Cashapp rose to ultimate power. God damn it, that's an Ashkenazi word, ain't it? Check supposed to. Let me make sure. Excuse me. Crocodile as a different figure of star word of night, which is the mythical place where Osiris hid from Seth, is a planet in the system of the Loch-Ness, like Sheik, and a world feared and despised by the Goa'uld. The Goa'uld? Y'all remember that in some certain movies, right? Hold on. The monk at Cashapp said to me in Yiddish, jerks around deliberately makes things difficult for someone. Get a bang out of smite. Cashapp in Yiddish. Still meaning alligator, crocodile, lizards. Well, goddamn, that was on, and that was on. What would we say? That was on scene. Anyway, without fail, the success or failure of the reptilian armies always hinged on the extraordinary ability of the drone warriors to maneuver in flight. Males and females alike could fly on wings that seemed far too delicate to carry their lanky bodies. They were exceptionally quick on the ground, but in the air, the reptilians had no peer. And from a distance, the approaching armies of flying warriors looked like a huge black cloud of giant dragonflies. Could that be the mythical, the locusts, devouring the lands? In the Bible, you know, Moses. Anyway, huge black cloud of giant dragonflies, a faint, angry buzzing betraying their intent. But even though the enemy might visually detect them while still some distance away, in the blink of an eye, the reptilian wing warriors covered the ground that separated them from their enemies in less than a heartbeat. The viciousness of the reptilian warriors descended on his enemy like the wrath of a cruel and bloodthirsty god. When you think about it, could wreak some destruction, couldn't it? Anyway, I wanted to read that part because that stays in line with what we were reading. And next we're going to get into the ascendancy of Nekeh, which is Nekh, Nek, a Nekeh. Okay? So that'd be pretty interesting. Well, they're getting off work early. That's right, they're only here for like a couple more weeks and they're all gone. Majority of them are already gone. But they used to leave beer cans and shit everywhere, just bums. I'd walk out there in the morning, y'all are fucking bums. And nobody would say nothing. And they started cleaning up stuff. So I hope that was a pretty interesting read. Now, you know, the Alien World Order, I want to read a whole lot of it, but I think I just read more than enough, and I want to stay within a position or a place that is practical for information sharing and things to look at. I hope that I've given you enough to look at. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to shout you guys out. Rondo, what's up, beloved? Oh, what's going on, beloved? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Margarita Abrams, hey, what's up, beloved? Yo, West Side, hey, AAA. Some of y'all haven't been in here. AAA, subscribe. That's Orthodox American Arms. Okay, Marcus Williams, what's going on, beloved? Awesome. That's wonderful, hon. Congrats. That's right. Lloyd, what's going on, beloved? What's happening? What's happening? James B, what's going on, beloved? Tribe, you already know. Yes, sir. Justin Castro. Okay. You be pulling up names. I don't even know how you be seeing them. Got my baby girl Snoo in there. No Harlem, Mississippian, River Morro. What's going on, beloved? What's cracking? I didn't know it was that crooked. I can't tell, but all right, there we go. I'm gonna make me some pasta right quick. I'm kind of hungry. Excuse me. Watching your face. You live one. I was hitting you up. I was like trying to share some information with you. I'm baby girl Slaughter. What's up, beloved? How you doing, sis? Yes, yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Herbo, beloved, what's cracking? What's going on, family? We exist to have enlightenment. I believe in order to do so, we have to shed our separate self, better known as the ego. Everything is averted thanks to the custodies of others. Pretty much, but it's more than ego. Ego is... How many of y'all remember that me always saying that you have the major thing that hits, like when the bomb explodes? Well, before that, what do you have? You have all the people who design it, the people who get everything to work, you know, invent it, the inventors, the designers, the ones who put it together, and then the ones who sit out there and test it. So ego is like everything else, narcissism, sadist, just all those things are symptoms. So it's one that people have to get rid of. But the moment people start recognizing and becoming aware that they have this ego that entraps them, and that they're a little narcissistic and they have this sadistic ideology, it's not theirs. We've been nurtured into it. So it's a symptom we must remove, because you know we always get symptoms before a cold, right? And we sit there going, why am I getting sick? We always say the season, well, there's 5 seasons, so we know it's a lie. We know we're more aware now, right? That it's man-made. All these diseases have been man-made or whatever made, right? It's a fact. They want you to wash with all these PFAS, about 7 to 9 in the water, all these chemicals, right? Because your biggest pores are in your feet, right? It pours all over your body, so you get all these heavy metals and chemicals in your body. And what they do, we blame it because the weather changed, when it's all the microbes and everything that we've been washing off that we need to protect us. Then we put all these chemicals on it. They got aluminum and all this other shit. So we absorb more of that. We have mental. So we can't tap because the pineal gland's calcified. This shit has all been staged, so we have symptoms. Running eyes, hay fever. Nobody should be allergic to shit. You know, I got a migraine all the time. What led up to it? Symptoms. You know what I mean? But excellent. Scott, what's going on, beloved? What's happening? I'm good. How are you? Oh, you're welcome, everybody. Marcus Williams, what's going on, beloved? What's cracking? Jonathan Whitefield, Tribe, what's going on, beloved? It's good to see you up in here. Thank you, hon. Yes, the Cashapp, if y'all want to donate some more for the books, I appreciate it. Like I said, it don't have to be a lot. Young Cherokee, you be hitting with the 5s, man. I appreciate it, man. One time is good. Get everybody else involved, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it. We'll get them books. Let me see, have anybody made any donations? I haven't looked, so maybe I'll look right now. Let's see what else is in there. I don't know. I actually was going to go out and deposit a couple $100 today just in case it gets something. No, nobody did. It's still at where it was before. So I'm going to leave there until it gets to enough where I can go ahead and match it and get all the books all at one time instead of. I get tired of doing that because I end up just buying books, you know. Helly weird. Hollywood, right? Isn't that funny when you find out what Hollywood is? The wood of holy or Hollywood. It just bugs the mind, which is made for wands. It's casting spells. It's hard to find those trees anymore around here. It means to make you famous, yeah, they say, right? Big fame these actors have, exactly. And they don't speak for us. You know, it's funny when they started having them speak for us. I was like, it's one thing to have the motherfuckers doing Burger King commercials in the 70s, getting us to want to eat that garbage, right? Remember White Castle's always some niggas, and everybody's running to them. The Hadron Collider. Now that's something. That's something fairly new that deals with CERN, and there's like several, maybe even more of those now. Probably in relationship. The machine might allude to that, but I believe it belongs to ships that were destroyed, that levitated. We keep missing each. Oh no, man! I left you all kind of messages. The Antikythera mechanism. Exactly. Thank you, honey. There was well, you know, they got a big ship out there that looks like it's petrified. Remember we were talking about that the other day? Was that the Lake of Gibraltar? Or I think that was well, some of you might remember, but there's a big ship out there, and after this one person went down there, he's dead now. He died not that long after that. And now everything has been military going down there. Nothing else shared about this would look like a vessel that crashed. That Great War, we was fucking them up. Don't get it twisted. That shit's all in the ocean, in the hillsides and the mountains. Oh, it's everywhere. We've been hey, Evelyn Smiley. What's going on, beloved? Max B, what's going on? What's happening, beloved? What's cracking? What's cracking? I'm sorry, let me see you reading. Oh, God, good nap, man. I woke up like, I gotta blow my nose. Sometimes I gotta do other things, you know what I mean? Mr. Say, what's happening, beloved? You already know God. Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate it. I hope y'all truly appreciate the read. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. I'm gonna make some pasta, some spinach and mushroom pasta, and with some basil. I don't want tomato sauce. Appreciate you guys coming in and everybody showing up. Check out everybody's channel, subscribe, support. You know what I mean? A little change to help. We keep it in the community. I know a lot of you want to go and throw it everywhere else, but we keep it where it matters, you know? And if you get a platform and you're really doing something, that's what we do. We'll share it when it needs to be shared, okay? So again, I appreciate y'all. All right? Beloved sisters. All right, to the goddesses and to the gods. The woman's the power, and we're the power that protects it. No matter how you feel and what you think, and in order for them to be relieved of all the bullshit, we gotta elevate them. And you better believe when you elevate the sisters and not these frauds who plasticize their bodies and fuck their heads up and everything else, sadly, maybe they'll come around. The ones who are here, we gotta. And not no fictional things. Not to get in the drawers and all that goofy shit. And that's not what love is about. All right? Just some important shit there. Okay? With y'all later.